So, it's been almost a year since the Destiny 2 Content Vault was implemented, or in this case, stripped away a lot of Destiny 2 content. So I wanted to make a video talking about this, because as of recent, a decent amount of people, including myself, have found Destiny 2 quite stale. And one of the main reasons why I feel this is actually due to the DCV. I mean, its execution was kind of poor, and I do understand the technical level why they did this. It was to ensure stability of the game, but they could have done something where it was at least doing something good for us, where we didn't really care to see a lot of content disappear. One of the main reasons why we could have felt like this was a bad implementation was just looking at the amount of content that we got throughout this year, where it was very few and far in between when it came to strikes or anything like that, or in this case, nothing for some areas like Gambit or PvP. But I want to just talk about this in general. I want to talk about many areas on why the DCV is in its execution poor, and also ways that they could definitely improve on this if this is what they decide to do going forward, where they strip away content. So for starters, let's talk about the main area that I feel like Destiny was hit hard when it came to the DCV. Ritual activities. I mean, when it comes to the Vanguard Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible, everywhere has been affected. PvP is affected because we lost maps and we haven't seen a single new map in like 600 plus days. So PvP is kind of a mess. We haven't really seen any new modes or overhauls to PvP at all as well. Gambit, same thing. We lost maps. We haven't gained anything. No overhauls to Gambit. No new modes to Gambit. We lost even Gambit Prime. Granted, they did make the Gambit mode that they have now pretty good. It's just that it could be a little bit better, specifically on the invasions. And when it comes to strikes, this area also very much sucks, because when it comes to Gambit and PvP, they removed maps because they were not as popular. When it comes to strikes, we kind of just had to deal with it. Even though there were some strikes that we absolutely loved, they had to be stripped away because they were tied to patrol areas that were also being stripped away into the DCV. So that's why we still have strikes like Exodus Crash and the Corrupted, which are not very fan-favorite strikes, still being in the game, but we lost some fan-favorites on like the on Mars or Titan and such. So yeah, it does suck in that area. But at the same time, where also the DCV becomes a problem is just looking at this year's lineup of content. We haven't seen anything new for PvP or Gambit. When it comes to strikes, we've only gotten two with Beyond Light. And when it comes to the overall additions of content, it's been few and far between. Now, I do understand that it's still because Bungie is trying to become fully independent. They probably don't have the resources to make a lot of content still. They're trying to increase the size of their studio. They're trying to hire more staff. So I understand that point. I still find it kind of like scummy and poor that they priced Beyond Light the same price as Forsaken, which was $45, when it was not really as close to being the size of Forsaken. That was the only thing that I had a main problem with, was the price. I still bought the Digital Deluxe, so I guess I have nowhere to talk here, but still. When Bungie literally told us to lower our expectations on the size of Beyond Light, you would think that also, to be fair, they would lower the price to be like a Shadowkeep kind of thing of content on the price. But regardless, though, when it comes to the content that we got throughout the year, I know that there's still another season and many other surprises probably down the road. We haven't seen much be replaced as we've lost content. But here's the thing. I'm not asking Bungie, in this case, right now specifically, to ask them to add tons and tons of content. Fine, fair, I understand why. But can you at least overhaul or give a facelift of Taken King or Forsaken style, where you do a facelift on the content that is staying? What I mean by this is, like, for example, with Taken King. Taken King was when they implemented the whole random generation thing where you go into a strike and sometimes there will be this enemy type or that enemy type. You do Archon Priest and maybe the Archon Priest will be Fallen, or maybe you'll get to the end and it'll be a Taken Archon Priest this time. It was random. And it was very exciting to play the Vanguard Strike to know that it would be this way or that way. I think that would have been really cool if they at least did something like that, where the strikes that were staying got an overhaul to be a little bit different, where even the bosses sometimes would be different, maybe different paths and so on. Exodus Crash could actually be fun for once, maybe even make the boss Siva related or something, anything along those lines to overhaul it. On top of this, overhaul the modes itself. In this way, I mean, like, add in strike exclusives. Start doing that. Add a feature where we have the Vanguard reputation system, or where you stay in strikes and you'll get higher amounts of chances of getting, like, the skeleton keys and so on. Like, start bringing that back. Overhauling stuff that's already there. Even looking at the strike playlist itself. Let's be honest, the heroic playlist is kind of boring. We only have 3 modifiers, and we don't see a lot of modifiers that are tied to how it was back in Destiny 1. I think that if they turned the heroic playlist to be like Destiny 1 level, that would be a lot more interesting. Instead of having the singes, how about bringing burns, where we have a 200% buff to whatever damage it is for that day or week. I would love to see other difficult modifiers implemented, maybe like 2 negative modifiers that are actually negative, like grounded or whatever. Have at least 1 burn, obviously, and have 2 benefits. So like Grenadier melee or class ability recharge, so like class specific one, and then a weapon specific one. So small arms, specialist, or heavyweight, because right now all we have is heavyweight. I miss specialist and small arms. Those were really fun modifiers to have as well. Make the heroic playlist fun, challenging, and rewarding. Make it overhaul. Gambit. It would have been interesting to see new maps in there, but they could have just overhauled the mode itself a little bit better. Maybe have a Gambit Labs section where they do funny stuff. Imagine if they had Mayhem Gambit for fun. Or maybe they had a PvE-focused Gambit, where you have just that. Like, just an area where they experiment on different things, like modifiers and so on. Crucible, same thing. It would be nice to see, like, Rift come back. See an overhaul to trials. See an overhaul to, like, how certain things work in the loot system. Whatever it may be. Just taking those things and overhauling it. When it comes to old dungeons, it would be nice to see what they're doing right now, done for everywhere. Random roles, where there's roles that are brand new to the weapons now. I would like to see the Trials of the 9 weapons inside of the dungeon in Season of Arrivals. Like, stuff like that. Patrol, it would have been very cool to see Patrol get an overhaul, where instead of just Patrol, you also have Flashpoint, and Flashpoint would be overhauled to where, instead of it being like, oh, do whatever amount of things in the Patrol to get a powerful, instead, Flashpoint would be an actual event. An event that's the level of, like, Iron Banner or back in the day, Faction Rally. They would choose one area to be the Flashpoint, and you would have an option to load into an endgame level Flashpoint, as in you would go into Patrol, and in this case for this season, it'd be 1340. It'd be a master difficulty Patrol with maybe modifiers and stuff like that. And when it comes to public events, they're a lot harder, and you can get rewarded endgame materials. Adept weapons that are tied to that Patrol area. Imagine going into the Dreaming City and getting Adept Twilight Oath and stuff like that. But you can only get it during that Flashpoint season, like that week. So it'd be going around each patrol each week. So there would be more of a reason to play the game, like, oh my gosh, I have to play this week because this is going on. The Flashpoint is this area, and I want to get an adept weapon of this. And everything would allow you to get adepts. Everything would be difficult. Everything would be endgame, but not too difficult. Like I said, not contest mode. And it'd still be a patrol, so it'd be public, but you would be able to go in there with a fire team, of course. But the only people that would be able to go into the patrol has to be at least 1330 in this case, since it's 1340. So then you don't have people going in there that are way too underlight or something, or they could make it so you have to be 1340 or something. But it would be really cool to see that. There'd be a reason to grind even further, like how Grandmasters is. The reason to grind for it is to be ready for Grandmasters. Just overhauling what you're keeping. That was the one thing that I liked about Taken King. They took things and overhauled it. Same thing with Forsaken. The reason why Forsaken didn't feel stale was because we actually saw the weapon system completely change. It got overhauled. We see vendor refreshes. We've seen overhauls to other parts of content. We got our very first dungeon. Like, so much was changed or added. Gambit was added. So I'm not saying add brand new content, but at least focus on the content that you are keeping to make it a little bit more interesting. Don't wait forever, because like I said, the Strike playlist, I would love to see this stuff now. Skeleton keys, Strike exclusives, so then we can start grinding them now. And these are things that are tied to those specific strikes. You don't have to do the Nightfall anymore. I think that as of right now, how Nightfalls work is perfect, where we wait for the weapon that is for that week, and that's how you get those weapons, is tied to the Nightfall, but then still have Strike weapons that you can earn as well, the Strike exclusives. That'd be very, very cool to also grind for. So, again, I understand why they did it, and I understand that they probably can't do this stuff for obvious reasons when it comes to them trying to go independent, but this is why I'm sharing my thoughts on this. I think that this would be great, because that makes Destiny feel full, even though it's lost a lot of content, if that makes sense. That's kind of how I look at it, and that's how I'm kind of looking at it for the future. So that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to see content just be ignored that is staying, that's been around since the launch. I want to see changes, and good changes too. So that's just my thoughts. You can leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know. Don't just say yes or no. Explain. If you like this video, leave a like on it. If you enjoy my commentary and rants, I also make other kinds of content. You can subscribe if you aren't already. But regardless, I hope you have a Chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next Chibi Hour. Chibi out.